Well guys, it's time to go ahead and get these upgrades installed on my Axial Yeti and get this thing back off-road. What we're going to be installing today is these customized RPM A-arms. They have stainless steel tubes in them. These tubes should prevent the pivot screws from bending as often or at all. Also, I have a hot racing pivot block, I'm not sure what it's called. It goes in front of these, which should help that problem as well. We've got some genuine Chinese lockouts here. They are aluminum. Actually look pretty good. I'll take a closer look at them when we get to them. Not going to be installing my new front differential today because unfortunately things are a little crunchy in there with the new axial gears in it. So I'm waiting for some shims on that. So that's not going to get installed today. We have T-Bone Racing's Basher front bumper. I had one of these on my, what was it? My last truck. Can't remember. Really liked it. Saved the chassis and the front of the stock bumper from getting beat up, which I really enjoy. I've got some Vanquish gears for the rear differential. Going to be replacing those cheese grade gears that come with the RTR truck. I'll show you what the ones that are in there look like after about, I think it's 5 or 6 packs. Check out my last video if you want to see some comparisons between these, the axial upgrade gears, and the ready to run axial gears. Got some pretty interesting stuff in there. Then I've got a Castle ESC fan. I'm going to be taking this and putting it on the ESC and then wiring, probably going to wire this directly up to the battery connections going to the ESC. Just that way it's just on whenever the battery's on. I might run it to the receiver. We'll see how that looks. And then I'm also going to, probably won't show this, but I'm going to be replacing the shock oil in the rear shocks with some 40 weight, which should help I don't know what's it called, the slapping, when it hits a jump and then the back end bounces up. There's a name for that, can't remember what it is, but we're going to put some 40 weight oil in there. The driver's side shock, the shock cap had come loose and it was leaking anyway, so it needs to be cleaned, so I'll go ahead and do that. Probably won't show that just because it's pretty straightforward. There's not really much to it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started by removing these rear shocks and rebuilding them, and I will be back when those are rebuilt and back in the truck. We'll move on to the next thing. Alright, slight change of plans. I pulled both of my shocks apart and both of them have split bladders in the top, so I won't be rebuilding those today. Go ahead and put those off to the side. I will do some research and see if this is a common problem and if I need to order an upgrade for these, or if these maybe were just installed improperly. You can see this one is kind of a chunk taken out of the side here. It leads me to believe that this was not installed properly. So that's off the table. Next thing that's going to be done is I'm going to go ahead and pull this differential out and get the gears replaced on it with the Vanquish gears. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled apart, and then we'll take a look and see how things look from there. Am I the only one that thinks these diff cover screws are way too long? Like, they don't really do anything. They only hold the diff cover on, and yeah, I think I'm going to shorten these up because they take way too long to take out and they don't need to be this long. What do you think? What do you guys think? Guys, look how absolutely trashed this ring gear is. Look how sharp those teeth are. It's totally worn out, and this is not on much running and not very hard running. The rest of this truck looks almost brand new. This is that garbage tin or zinc, not steel, whatever they're using in their RTR gears on the Yeti and others, I'm sure, whatever has the AR60 axle in it. Just so they can say it has metal gears in it. I think plastic would hold up better. Take a look at my previous video. We did some interesting tests on these gears. Alright, let me get the Vanquish gears in there and we'll see how they line up. Alright, crappy RTR gears out, sexy Vanquish gears in, and you won't be able to tell, but the mesh actually feels pretty good. Got the tiniest bit of play, doesn't feel real notchy as it rolls over, so I think that's going to be a winner. I don't think we need any shims for the rear. I'm going to put some grease on here. I use the Team Losi high pressure black grease. This stuff right here. I like it. It smells like real grease. It's got some good, got a nice, decent, thickish consistency to it. It doesn't sling all over the place. It's got some molybdenum disulfide in it. So it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I do like to use this. So let me get this greased up. Not too much. All you need is enough to cover the teeth. You don't need it slung all up in here and gooped all in the different. There's no point. It just, once it's on the teeth are completely covered, that's enough grease. Let me get that greased up. I'll get the cover with the way too long screws back on. I decided to leave the screws as they are. I'm not going to mess with them. And then I will do the aluminum lockouts. Take a closer look at those before I put them on, because they're just straight from mainland China, and we'll see how they look compared to the stock plastic ones. Okay, be right back. Well, I'm not a huge fan of these Chinese lockouts. I don't think it's the Chinese lockout's fault. I think it's the design of how this lockout mounts to this axle. It's the same with all of them. The plastic ones are the same as well. The only ones that are different I've seen are the Vanquish ones, and they actually clamp on. Let me see if I can show you. See, this has a bolt in the top and the bottom, and it's splined this way, but it's not the tightest fit. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, but see, I can move that back and forth. And that's moving the entire axle, the bearing, the wheel, and there's a lot of force on that. So see, that's going to end up bending axles, and having the aluminum lockout doesn't really help that. They look cool. I think they look really nice, and I'm gonna leave it on here. Now, if I can get the other aluminum hub off on the other side, this one's they're both stuck on there pretty good. I was able to get this one off. Then I'll go ahead and put the other one on, but I think I am going to spring for those Vanquish clamp style lockouts at some point. Alright, let me get the other one put on. Alright, well, that wraps up the rear axle upgrade. Got the new Vanquish gears in, got the new Chinesium aluminum lockouts on. Like I said, I think I'll probably be replacing those again with Vanquish ones. We'll see how they hold up. I'll check them for looseness as time goes on. Next episode, probably tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about installing this cooling fan for the ESC. We'll talk about a couple different options there are for installing cooling fans, how to wire them. Usually you can either wire them into the receiver, or you can wire them directly to the battery connection going into the ESC. So anyway, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.